The Garden Report is brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Yeah, do you see him, initiating some more plays next year? Because I was looking back at 2019, which I think was one of those years where he, had a bunch of pick and roll sets, a lot of time on the ball that year with DeMar in San Antonio. His pick and roll numbers were great that year. I think he was like in the 60th, 70th percentile of guys that year. Even last year, I think he was way, way up there when he was running those sets. He's capable of that. Now, he's a guy who plays off the ball a lot. They use him a lot in the screening game and all of that. But I'd have to imagine, even though Tatum's going to have the ball a lot, even though Brown's going to have the ball a lot, White's going to be running probably more sets next year, I'd imagine.
I think the numbers probably say that, but
yeah.
Also we're not adding in Porzingis into the mix,
right?
So you still, we're going to leave it up to training camp and the coach. What is this really going to look like? And I think Joe is going to be great from a standpoint of organizing that group of 5 or 6 and. I think the staff that's coming along is going to be, extremely helpful. Coach Sam Cassell came out here for 3 or 4 days and spent a lot of time with Derrick and started to talk about, behind closed doors, some of those things that they're going to be looking to do. But, I think it's an exciting group with just so many different options that's kind of how Derrick has prepared the offseason, like to play with the ball in his hands a lot. We've done a lot of screen and roll stuff. But also continue to play off the ball and be great in that role.
Yeah, and you bring up Porzingis. I want to get to him in a minute, but what was it like meeting Sam, getting to know him? That was probably my favorite interview at Summer League, was talking to him, because it just, he's got that kind of Celtic mystique. He's talking about the championships. He's talking about 08, and it's like, oh, man, this is like the golden era right there.
And I describe Coach as just down to business. Like, from the time he walked in the gym, it was like, let's go to work.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of fluff to it. He knew exactly what he was looking for. We meshed really, really well together. But I just saw a guy that, when you talk about getting over that hump, I think he's going to have a lot to do from a guard standpoint with really helping those guys get to that next level, playoff games, back-to-back games, being able to just grind through the hard times and understand how important it is, the legacy that these guys can leave with someone who's done it before and done it, at multiple places.
Yeah, and how important is that? I mean, they had Damon last year, year before that. But, I think Tim was on one of those Spurs staffs, wasn't he? Just the former players, the guys who've won championships, the guys who've done it. Talking to different players, they really stress how important that is. And just, I guess, being in the gym with Sam, like, what's the benefit of that? Like, just walking through stuff? Is it just sharing stories? Like, what do you think's the biggest benefit to having that?
Well, I think the number one thing is, like, to show that you care, right? It's a relationship. So, I've been with Derrick for 15 years. Our relationship is going to be, what it is for the test of time, right? Like, there's never going to be a coach as Coach Derrick White in middle school, high school, Division II college, Division I college, through the entire draft process, 2 NBA teams right now. So to me, Sam showed like, hey, I want to develop a relationship with you. I want to get to know you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know when we're down 2 with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, how do you receive coaching? And so to me, that was just like huge. Like, hey, I want to get a relationship first. And then when he got on the court, he talked some specifics, and a lot of it was a little of the nuances of the game. How to set your man up here, coming off a pick and roll. This is what you're looking for. These may be some of the options with, what we think is going to be some of the lineups. It wasn't anything that I hadn't seen before, but just to show how much that he cared and how much he wanted to be here, I think was huge.
What's it like getting ready to play with Kristaps? Obviously, last year, the sensational post-up numbers he had, obviously a pick-and-pop shooter. He can score from pretty much anywhere. The one thing I'm interested in, you keep hearing it, NBA players can't throw the entry pass like they used to. And, Derrick's going to have to hit him right there on the block. How's he doing with that?
Yeah. Well, you remember now, Derrick played with LaMarcus Aldridge in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go back to the basket big, I think LA and Derrick have a great relationship, and I think Derrick really thrived in that role. Porzingis, is an unbelievable talent, and I love what he brings to the table. I think the thing that I challenge Derrick in, Derrick should have a year. This should be his highest assist numbers in his 7 years in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me, is an individual goal, because Porzingis pick and pop, pick and roll, post up. I mean, when he gets the ball up in the air, it's got a high percentage that it's going in, and that's the type of guy you want to play with.